Oh, good evening, and we're going to open our Board of Education meeting for the Macon School Board, December 7th. It's 6:02. And would you call the roll, please, Janet?
Tim Hunter.
Present.
Craig Benelli.
Here.
Rachel McWhorter.
Here.
Craig McClure.
Here.
Kira Taylor. Here.
All right. So, could we rise for the pledge and have our student representative lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd remind our board members and audiences to please silence their phones, take any sidebar conversations out into the hall. And this is a meeting of the school board in public, not a public meeting. And we will conduct this meeting according to Robert's Rules of Order and have decorum on our board. So at this point in time, take a motion for approval of the agenda.
I move to approve the agenda as presented.
I'll second.
We have a motion, we have a second. Is there any discussion? Would you call the question, please?
Tim Hunter.
Aye.
Craig Benelli.
Aye.
Rachel McWhorter. Aye. Craig McClure.
Aye.
Kira Taylor. Aye.
And the motion carries. So we will follow our agenda as written. Election certifications. The election was certified last week. I have to scroll through and find the exact dates
On the
on
20th.
the 20th.
November 20th.
And our new board members, because of time constraints and the rule of law, have been sworn in outside of this meeting. So they have already been sworn in as board members. And our two new board members, why don't you guys introduce yourselves, tell us something about yourself, just a minute or so.
Wow, you're looking at me like I'm gonna go first. All right,
Hang on, actually, before we do that, can I give some board recognition?
Oh,
to our
well, we
outgoing
certainly can do
member?
that.
Get our
We have
agenda
our
right.
two outgoing board members that have served with distinction on our board for the past multiple years.
Yep. So I just want to take a moment to publicly honor Victor Figueroa and Emily Hutchison Brown, who both served in their full 4-year terms, correct?
Yes.
Here in Macon School District. The role of a board member and serving a public school in a community is extensive and complex and requires work, thought, collaboration, and such a deep dedication of service to our students, our staff, and the community. And so I just want to publicly thank Victor and Emily for their service. They're not here tonight, but we do have some parting gifts in there to honor them and to give them also a keepsake of their memory, of their time here as a memory here at Macon School District. So we'll see them around as well in the community, but if you see them out and about in the community, be sure to stop and thank them. Most people choose volunteer positions that are hit and miss and coming and going, but a school board position is a deep level of service, and so we're grateful for them, so thank you.
Very much so. So with that introduction to our new members.
Yep.
okay. I'm Craig McClure. I am new. I have a son in elementary and a daughter in middle school. I am thrilled by the group we have at this table. I think there's a lot of intelligence and a lot of positive energy, and we're going to get a lot of great stuff done. Our family loves the Macon schools. We're here partly because we actually met Tim when we were visiting towns. We met Tim in the Macon Brewery, and he told us the wonders of the Macon School District. And we met Rachel at her old business in town, who said this is where all the smart kids go to school in the area. And that's absolutely true. That's how we ended up here. So we're deeply committed to these schools. And my superpower, so you have to think of yours now, my superpower is the ability to select the exact right size leftovers container.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Not handy here, but handy in life.
My name is Kira Taylor. I have a background in education. I was a teacher in Cortez, taught 4th and 5th grade science and English. I loved it. I also have one kid in the pre-K at the Make Us Early Learning Center, which I am a huge fan. And a background in nonprofit administration and technology. I'd love to bring some of those skills to the board. Also really excited to work with this crew. And superpower, I am really good at telling what time it is without looking at the clock. Yeah. Not at all useful most of the time. But
Were you schooling one?
I don't know. I would say that's pretty useful.
All right, so like I said, they, normally at the first board meeting, they do a public oath of office that's already been dealt with, so that they are officially board members as they are seated now, and don't have to go through any more hoops tonight, other than the introduction.
Well, and a photo afterwards, it'd be important that we get a photo. We
Okay.
do have a photo that we will release of Craig and Kira taking the oath at the Dolores State Bank with Doris, what's Doris's last name? McKinley,
Yeah.
and so she swore them in last Thursday afternoon, so thanks for.
Nice. Okay, I think that's it on the board member stuff. We, public participation. Do we have any public participation?
No, we do not.
I think there is,
Oh, we do. Did you say that? Take us through that.
oh, the different.
It's not up there.
Okay. Well, Tio?
I just wanted to go off of what Audrey said, but also just as a community member, wanted to give thanks to Victor and Emily for their years of service, dedication, and unwavering commitment to our students and staff and community. Their service helped shape the direction of our schools, guided important decisions, and created opportunities that continue to affect families in this district. I want to say thank y'all for y'all's countless hours y'all invested that y'all did not have to invest. The challenges you navigated and the passion y'all brought to ensuring that every student has the chance to succeed. Y'all's legacy lives on in the progress and growth of our district, and we're sincerely grateful for the positive difference y'all have made. Just a big thank you from the community as a community member, so.
Thank you. It's appreciated. Yeah. Okay, public participation. So one of the first things we have to do by law at this meeting is to conduct an election of officers for the board, an internal election of officers for the board. And that consists of president, vice president, secretary, and treasurer. And then the other person would be just a director. So I will open the floor for nominations, unless you want me to put forward a slate of officers.
I think let's do a sleep.
Okay, so the slate of officers that I was putting together is myself as president, Craig Benally for vice president, Rachel for treasurer, and Craig McClure for secretary. Is there any kind of discussion on that?
Do we have to make a motion
I
for that?
believe we have to
We
make
will
nominations. Yeah.
eventually.
Yeah, I mean,
This is the discussion part, because everybody,
there needs to be a motion to accept that slate of officers in a second, and then a vote.
right, and I'd like to nominate Tim Hunter as president, Craig Benally as vice president, myself as treasurer, Craig McClure as secretary, and Kira as director.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for the slate of officers. Is there any further discussion on that? Janet, call the question, please.
Tim Hunter,
Aye.
Craig Benally,
Aye.
Rachel McWhirter, aye. Craig McClure,
Aye.
and Kira Taylor.
Aye.
All right. Then I will continue carrying on this meeting. Okay. Reports for the board, to the Board of Education. So our student voice. Greta, what have you got for us tonight?
Okay, so as I believe that Rhett talked about last time, we sent out a survey to hear what our peers and fellow classmates around our school district want. We sent it out to the middle schoolers and high schoolers. And the reason that this is important is because we want to make sure that this school is a safe and interactive environment for everyone. So some things that the middle school wants, I put stars next to the ones that are important. They want to be able to pick their electives. They want more time outside. They don't want to have to do IXL anymore, which I believe is like a reading platform.
Yeah.
They want more lunchtime to make school more interactive during off months. And what they meant by this is, in the last 2 quarters of school, it gets a little boring because you don't have any holidays to look forward to, and you're just like making that final to summer break. And like, I think making school a little bit more interesting in those months, like I'm on the Student Alliance and we're working on pep rallies, and I want to put into motion like a weekly spark, which gets like kids like out of the classroom and doing something fun. They want gym access during recess, especially during the cold months. They want to bring back Big J, Little J, which is where like older kid was assigned to a younger kid and they got to like read. And then they want phone time, but a few of them said like not all the time, just during lunch, like that kind of thing. And the high schoolers, they want a longer lunch break. Some of them said to get rid of advisory and add to lunch, or have it be like a study block right before lunch. And I think that would be a pretty good idea, like for the kids who need it, and the ones who don't, they can maybe go home or take extra time to go eat. I think Rhett will talk about this next time he's here a bit more, but we're gonna have a discussion with the school dean to get a change in attendance policy, because right now it's a little iffy and it's unclear for a lot of people, and especially with excused and unexcused absences, I think there's some gray areas there. We want to be allowed to have earbuds when we're working on our work. A few people said more options for tutoring, either during or after school. And quite a few people wanted phone time after our work is finished. It's a lot of things.
It's a lot of stuff.
It's a good list though.
I think the most important for everyone is the longer lunch break, change in attendance, picking electives, which I think is really important. For me, I have a younger brother with ADHD, and when he's in a class he doesn't like, he just can't focus and he has like no drive to want to do well. More time outside. I think we're really fortunate to live in an area where we have such a nice outdoor environment, and I think it's kind of a shame that we don't get to go outside as much. We have an outdoor ed class, but implementing our natural environment would be even better.
Right. Administrators, you've taken notes.
I took a lot of notes there.
That's a lot of stuff.
Thank you, Greta, this is
very
really
good. I
good
appreciate it.
information. Can you just share for the community that's listening and any board members that are not fully aware, because it's a newer part of our high school program and component of the High School Alliance, because I'm assuming you'll be taking a lot of this back to the High School Alliance in
Yes.
terms of what the High School Alliance is. Could you just talk a little bit about what the High School Alliance is and how they might help start getting some of this underway at the school?
Yes, so the High School Student Alliance is a group of students who are working to do what we do a little bit in a way, to make the school more interactive and like a little bit more fun. It's kind of a mix between a little bit of the board work and Stuco, and we're working on like this huge project during the springtime to get kids a little bit more excited about going to school. I mentioned like I want to have like a weekly spark because I heard about like, yeah, we want more things to do in like the final 2 quarters of the school year when it's like, oh, there's no holidays, like we don't get a break until the summer, and it's like, it becomes a little harder to do your work because you're not really excited about going to school. And I think the Student Alliance is working to make the school more fun.
And then talk about how you will bring whatever information back to the students. So once you've worked with the Alliance, you work with administration, then how would that information get relayed back to the students?
Yes, so we're going to pick, I'd say, 3 key points for the middle school and 3 key points for the high school. And then we'll have, Brett and I will do like a presentation of some sort of what we really want to be changed in the school. And I think Brett and I will really just try to get our message across to the students that like we want to hear their opinions so that we can make the school better for them.
Yeah, I think it's important that we connect and that cycle. It sounds like already you identified being able to meet with the dean, because a lot of some of the things that are in here are things that definitely they'll want to partner on and look at, and that as the superintendent, I can kind of help parse out what things here are really board related, because there are some board things in here that can come up around like our phone policy, attendance, things like that, although I think I know that our dean is working within policy, it's probably around the guidelines and where things are not clear, how can we be more clear in policy and more clear for students, and then what can we do back at the school, because we mentioned about like time outside, is that some information that can go back to the school leadership team where teachers can think about like, when can they take their class outside, or maybe when are they doing brain breaks or whatever, like how to be more creative. It sounds like you have a lot of really good stuff in this and I appreciate you bringing it and continuing that. So my commitment is to connect back with your school leaders to identify just that, and we could probably do that together, is just the connection point.
Yeah,
So right there.
and we're also going to reach out to the elementary and probably schedule like a time that Rhett and I could go into the classrooms and talk to them, because even though they're little, they still have good ideas,
Oh, yeah.
and like anyone can make a difference.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right. Any questions?
Yeah, do you have any more detail on the IXL comment?
So I just know it's some kind of platform on the computer, and I know, I'm not exactly sure what it is, but it's some kind of website that kids have to do some kind of reading or math assignment, I'm pretty sure.
I don't know if it's reading and math or if it's just math. I know it's part of the last block of the day for middle schoolers where it's targeted skill practice or project work, or they are breaking students off around kind of like what they need at that time. I think the goal around the IXL is, the IXL program figures out where students are and then gives them, things to practice based on where they are in their skill development, and their teachers can assign that specific to the skills that they need to grow in. So it's kind of targeted practice around different skills. So
Is this the new component that came from the new curriculum that we just?
IXL is not connected to iReady.
Oh, right,
I mean,
Ready.
iReady is the new math curriculum in elementary school. IXL is kind of a known instructional support tool. It's pretty well utilized across the United States because it does provide targeted practice in the areas, and then it responds to what the student, for like the math problems, it responds and identifies, like, do they need more of that? Do they need to back up? And then there's, I think, some instructional videos that go in there as well. So, but it would be curious to learn more and find out what part of it is it. Yeah, it can feel a little, I know, I mean, I had 3 kids use it. I do know that it can feel at times like it is sustained practice, which is not always easy. But I think they're only doing it maybe about 15 to 20 minutes a day. I will get out more information for the board about it.
Anyone else? Okay.
Thank you.
Impressed with your data collection. That's not
I think we got like 119 responses.
Nice.
Wow, that's great.
Fantastic.
That's really good.
Just go into marketing.
Okay, District Accountability Committee.
Right, so we had a meeting, last week, and we were largely talking school finance, and budget. It was more of an overall look at, budget and the budget process and school finance. So we start off always with some appreciations and celebrations, so snow, family time during break, Lego team state competitors, the cheer team, and celebrations for Alice Miller as the new business manager. And so all that is really exciting, and there were no concerns, so, wow, yeah, that was.
Thanksgiving break.
That was pretty great. So in the presentation on finance, Chrissy and Audrey talked, Audrey put together a slide deck, and that's gonna be linked in the notes that will go out on the website, hopefully here in the next week or so. So folks can look at that slide deck, and I really encourage people this time to do it who have an interest in school finance. And if board members don't have links to some of the resources in that slide deck, that would be great as well. The biggest ones being financial transparency information from the Colorado Department of Education, and then the Colorado School Finance Project. And Audrey told us about, and she pulled up and showed us how they have lots of in-depth materials and resources, and they are running a Get It Done campaign as a bipartisan advocacy group for school finance. And so that was all really great. Then we talked about strategic school finance and really making sure that financial management aligns with the strategic plan, and really looking forward, reaching outward, and focusing on how well we're doing things. And then budgets and grants. So we know the January budget revisions are coming up. There were 10 fewer students than we initially anticipated for. So that is a chunk of revenue that Chrissy is working on figuring out how all the magic, where she can save and all that happens. But that really got us going down a discussion on, should we be focusing on the per student dollar number? Is that really where the energies should be focused in the budget? And so we would just take that question back to the board as well. When you're looking at the budget, is that one of the top priorities or key pieces that we need to be looking at? And that was just brought up. And then it was brought to our attention that some of the 10 students were lost to homeschooling communities or online courses at the high school level. So can we do exit interviews with students who leave the district to figure out what it is that the district could be doing to keep folks here and to keep them engaged? And then we also recognized in looking at the budget that the amount set aside for the transfer for the preschool, we wouldn't be surprised if that goes up due to the lower enrollment numbers that the preschool's seeing. And it sounds as though that's probably a trend rather than kind of like a one-off for this year, as other preschools here in our community are maybe seeing lower enrollment, as we've seen the advertising for those schools increase. And we know Tira's working really hard over there to promote the Early Learning Center and their accreditations. And so that's all really great stuff that's happening, but it's something to be aware of, and the board's gonna have to be thinking about that. And then we also talked about grants, and this has come up before, I've heard in meetings, and that's You know, we need grants to fill gaps in the budget, but when salaries are funded by grants, then that can be problematic. But at the same time, we know our nurse, our deans of students, and our counselors are grant funded. And so, like, a portion of their salaries comes from grants, so that shows the necessity for the grants, because we can't do without those positions. So tricky there, and so challenges are, that were talked about are engaging with the community, and community members, and reconnecting with families and what they need from our school, making sure we're educating our community members on how student success impacts them and the community. And this was a sentiment that we heard during the mill levy override campaign too, was people who tended to be in opposition to the mill levy didn't see the connection or the direct benefit to them as a community member without a student in the district. So I think that's work for all of us who are part of this school district to be doing, is getting that information out there. So we did recommend, an idea was brought about, is have we ever done a survey to community members, a resource survey about how the community understands or would like to see the financial resources being spent on the school. And we thought that's a great idea, and we recommend that Audrey move forward with putting something out in regards to that for a resource survey. We're also gonna work as a DAC to really, we're having really great discussions at these meetings. They have been really wonderful to be a part of. They're very engaging, there's lots of great ideas and thoughts coming about out of them. And so moving forward, we're really gonna try and work to wrap those discussions up into some actionable steps and recommendations. So looking for that coming forward, but I would say as far as what we recommend to the board is definitely, if you don't already, if you haven't engaged with those school finance resources from the CDE and the Colorado School Finance Project, to really dive in there. And I would say, utilize Chrissy as much as you can and as much as she's able to support you while she's still here, because she has been awesome for our district, and we're gonna miss her, but we know we'll be in capable hands with Alice, so. I think that's most of it. Craig, you were there at the meeting, so if there's anything that I missed.
You got it all. You did fantastic work. I would like to add that you did have a non-parent community member participate.
We do.
Which is a huge new thing.
She's come to 3 meetings now, and is still planning to come, so I will shout her out. Thank you, Lisa Martin, for coming to the DAC, and we look forward to having her continue to participate in our school community and with our district.
Yeah, she's got a load of experience as well as a former educator and special educator and administrator. Yeah, all of the above, so yeah, it's great. I heard you say, I kind of heard maybe that we might have a previous resource allocation survey that's gone out in the past.
When we put out the survey, who was the company that did our survey work for us for the mill levy and bond initiative?
Oh, I have, yeah.
That was they did a full, I mean, I don't know how many of you guys filled out that survey, but it was definitely a financial distribution survey.
I think there was one done also during the housing.
During our time for housing.
Okay,
Yeah.
so maybe what we'll do
We've
is
done 2
gather
financial
those.
resources allocation surveys. And we just probably need to go back and look at that data again if people are concerned about that. Because before we decided to do bond and mill or bond, we had a professional survey, and I was just trying to look up who that was.
Me too.
Magellan's the one who did the latest one.
Yeah, they did.
Magellan, yes, it was
I'm not
Magellan
sure
who did
who
that.
did the first one, but the latest one we did was Magellan.
Magellan,
Yes.
correct.
And I
Magellan
think,
Strategies.
I'm not sure, but I think Memphis United kind of did a similar survey too, when they were talking about, or getting community input for the community center that they were researching. So there might be some data on that too.
So it
from
sounds
the
like we need to
community side.
pull the existing ones that we do have and then determine what
See if
questions
there's
we
holes
do
or
wanna
gaps or
ask.
something
And
else
I
that we
think,
need to.
yeah, cause I'm wondering about questions around curriculum, activities, athletics, like getting a little more into the weeds, cause we have to make those weedy decisions, that we might be able to get some more, just guidance from our community in terms of what their priorities are as well, so when we make those decisions, those are informed, so. Thank you for those, so I heard Magellan, one for the housing, what was the third one that I'm looking for?
Memphis United,
Okay.
Yeah.
That's right.
because they were looking to try new funding for a community center.
Not for like individual districts.
I think there might have been for GP, I think they had a survey done.
Yeah, I just try to
think
track
that
down
was
the
just-
full
Any
story. It's
other
probably
questions
board
for
minutes
the
somewhere.
DAC? Thank you.
Your next meeting is?
Our next meeting is in February, let me make sure I pull that up. It's gonna be Tuesday, February 17th at 5:30, and the topic is going to be wellness.
I think I wanted to-
And so far, what we've talked about and what we wanna know about is how does the district evaluate wellness? And then the district vision on, this says balancing admin, so that might be an incomplete thought, but.
Oh, no, I think it was also about staff and admin and teacher wellness, like also looking at administrative, right? You're nodding your head.
Balancing workload and
Yes.
work-life balance, yeah.
So balancing administrative duties with the other responsibilities, not balancing admin staff.
No, just like looking at all,
Yes.
looking at
Yes.
that balance for
There we go.
all staff members.
And Craig, were you the one signed up
Yeah.
to go to that one? Okay,
Perfect.
I knew somebody.
Okay. Then, it looks like we're ready for BOCES
BOCES.
report.
Okay,
This ought to be interesting.
well, couple things. First thing is CDE came out December 1st, and they have denied Cortez's application to basically make their own aid. So that doesn't mean that the process is finished. Cortez, I believe,
They
has
have filed an
60
appeal.
days to file an appeal. They have already done one?
Yep,
Yes.
they filed an appeal.
Okay, so we won't know for several more months. The appeal goes straight to Cordova. It doesn't go through the whole thing, it goes straight through the commissioner, just like we did last time. So we have done this, we've already been there, done that, this is their second time. So we'll see what happens. In the meantime, a couple of things that the BOCES is working on. They're developing their program evaluation tool. Basically, they need to clearly define consistent expectations and provide layers of support for all ESS team members. To inform and develop their package programming tools. Basically, we have so few specialized programs that the tool can really help to create the package of the resources and opportunities for those programs within the large diverse caseload, and then to inform and improve student outcomes. And then the main thing they talked about was the Special Education Physical Advisory Committee, the CFAC. That one takes special education data, physical information, changes to what the committee recommends regarding the manner of how the funds are distributed to the AUs. ECEA is the main funding source for special education for the BOCES. Right now, it's $1,700 per student. They can give up to $4,000 more for the high-cost individuals. So they need to look at and see which so the committee is working on their annual report to the legislature, which helps to create, or helps to monitor or to keep that 4,000 in the high cost. Because right now within the special education, when you do the December count for the IEPs, I believe that's also when we put in the data for whatever our high cost is, because most students who have more needs, it's more than the $1,700 that ECA has. So the high cost is really important to get that count into it. Obviously they have all kinds of the training and stuff, some of the value adds that they have. Their induction program supports the free access for educators for the member districts for all of the state-approved induction processes. So we can, instead of shipping everybody out to do trainings, BOCE does a lot of those trainings and a lot of the PD, I know you have a list of that. The other thing that they're looking at, and Chrissy, this is kind of more of a you thing, is they're looking at potentially putting together an insurance pool within the entire BOCES. They probably already talked to you about this. And mostly to see if we can get a better group rate for all of the districts, because insurance is just insane. They're expecting it to go up by another 15% next year, is the number they gave us. So I don't know if that's anything that they've talked to you, but that's just something that's out there. They do continue to work on budget scenarios with and without Montezuma Cortez, because again, we don't know yet what's gonna happen, but as of right now, the original application was denied.
I can add a little detail to some of that. Susana Cordova has to decide by the end of January. So we'll know at that point, and then they will be deciding if they start with a new application process, which I think is due in June. Starts all over again in June, if they determine to do that. I think when, so we know there's a lot of change and turnover, so we don't know, in the last time that they did that, they did do that. Whether or not they do that or not remains to be seen. As the superintendent group, BOCES group, we are proceeding to continue with the analysis of the fee schedule and the way in which the fee structure works within BOCES, because right now it's pretty kind of flat rate across the board. Everyone pays kind of a similar flat rate and then varying fees within that. But we know we have very small districts, as small as Silverton and as large as Pagosa. And so the goal is to come together and really analyze that and see if there's any other ways to look at that might balance that out. So districts are paying BOCES relative to the number of students that BOCES is serving.
So basically across
It's complex.
across the 8-member districts, everyone was paying 30 grand. So if you're Silverton with 10 kids, or your Pagosas, well, Cortez is the largest, everyone was paying for 30. And then above the number, the amount of the administration fee minus everyone's 30 was then divided by however many students you have. So our fees was
It's about,
Hundreds.
it's around 80,000 a year.
right.
So whatever that ends up being a quarter.
For Magus, and again, you know, and
Maybe
it's based
25
off of our
quarter,
student count.
20.
So in that respect, Silverton does pay a lot less than Cortez because of student count, but they still have to pay that initial 30 grand, which really kind of hurts, you know, a lot of the districts. So I know that is one of the main things that we're looking into, those fee schedules.
Yeah, so those are things underway regardless of what happens with the possible departure of Montezuma County.
And I believe we still are looking to have Royce come talk to us potentially in January to just kind of give an overview.
At some point, yes, I'll check in with you to discern what's the best timing for that.
Any,
We might wanna make, well, I'll talk about when might be the best timing for that, whether it's in January or February.
Depending
It's
on-
more,
right.
Yeah, and then things will change as of January, once the determination is made from the state on Cortez.
Right,
correct.
May or may not change.
Correct.
Is BOCES still in the back of their minds putting together plans for recalibrating their financials if Cortez does leave?
Yes.
So that's still,
And they, when Cortez put in their application, part of that application is for BOCES to submit what would happen. Both, you know, if they stayed, what is our budget, and if they left, kind of what is their budget. So they have already worked all of that. It doesn't look very pretty, but they've done it. And I think they were waiting to kind of shore it up with like exact numbers if this were to actually happen. So they do have 2 or 3 working budgets of the what if category.
Can I just ask a quick catch-up question?
Yeah.
What's the impact to us if they leave?
The impact for us, and a lot of it would be within that fee schedule, so then obviously that their payment to BOCES is a little over, well, I wanna say it's close to like $500,000. So BOCES would have to cut all of the providers that basically would go to Cortez. And then all the other member districts would have to pay more in that administrative fee. So we would all have to absorb more.
Ultimately, yeah, I mean, I think it's about scale in terms of, when a BOCES unit, if it gets to a certain size, we still need all of the same providers to support our students with special needs. So everything from hard of hearing to OT, PT, all those different things. And so, but it would be serving fewer students. And so there's 2 parts. One is most likely increased costs for all of the schools within the BOCES. The other thing I think that is really worth noting is that there's a lot of staff that work for BOCES that are kind of going through, just the unknown of their jobs, of where they might be serving and whatever. So I just want to kind of say publicly that that's a really difficult position to be in as a service provider, regardless of what the outcome is. But it would most likely be increased costs.
And so it's like a pool.
Yeah, okay.
So-
And they're large enough that they impact scale and bring down our costs.
Yeah.
If they leave, our costs go up because they are the scale.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
And
what it's
now-
at. That's,
When we went through this with Durango, when Durango left BOCES, there was a lot of fear, and it wasn't a nice thing, but it was accommodated. BOCES came up with a plan. The thing that we've noticed the most, especially when Durango left, is that they could afford to pay for their district. They took a lot of the BOCES people with them, and that's kind of the intent of Cortez's thing too, is to take the best and the brightest and give them a salary schedule more commensurate than what BOCES could provide, which would leave us possibly short on their staff to accommodate our needs. That's my biggest concern about that.
yeah, and I think there's just a lot of unknowns, and that, ultimately, we want to provide the best, highest quality services to our students with special needs, or any level. Also, they serve us in other ways as well, so. And being able to do that seamlessly, so still doing a lot of preparatory work, should it happen.
And the 2 big things that they look for that Commissioner Cordova will look at as well is the applying school able to serve their students well? Like, can they provide all the services to their students? And how does it impact the BOCES? So those are the 2 things that they look at. So if the last time this came around, the report came back that it would be too much of a negative impact to the rest of the BOCES, and that's why they were denied. So it kind of just depends on, everyone submitted all their papers and everything going on and what the commissioner now comes down to. But those are the 2 main criteria that they look at.
And we did not appeal at this time as a Memphis district, correct?
No, well,
I mean, we did not submit
I think what BOCES has put forth was with the input of the BOCES team,
right.
including the superintendents. I think they
I
gave
don't
input
believe
on the,
any
but I don't think there's
individual
no,
district
we did not do anything
had
individually.
any individual input.
Right.
Anything else for Rachel?
And it does look like it's $20,000 a quarter.
Yeah, I was thinking it was like
It's like
76 to 80.
19,500,
Yeah.
somewhere in there, a quarter is what
Yeah.
we.
All right, well, Chrissy, that leads right into you.
Well, obviously I'm working on truing up the budget, so that's, this week especially, I'm going to be head down, like, trying to figure that out. So on I think it's the 12th of January, is that the work session? We'll do a comprehensive budget presentation to you, I guess, and what's different from the June to the January budget. So I'll make sure you guys understand all the differences, and we'll present a balanced budget to you, no matter how it looks, so, and then we'll go from there. And then also, other than that, I just wanna make sure that you guys understand the mill levy resolution for the overrides that we have. So there's gonna be, it's in the action items tonight, obviously, and then I just wanted to make sure you understood it, if you had any questions regarding it. The CDE mill levy form that I also attached with the resolution shows last year's numbers, and then of course it shows this year's numbers, so you can see the difference between the 2 years. Property value difference, all of those things. So I don't know if anybody has any questions about that, or if you're all
Well, you're
good to
waiting
go.
for the mill levy committee to put together, you've been working on how to disperse that funds, but the mill levy committee is being finalized this week.
Yeah, I'll talk about that in the superintendent report a little bit about how that's coming together.
Yeah.
But this is our normal mill, this is not the override, this is.
Well, this does have the override in it.
Okay.
This has both of our overrides. We have the 57.8, that's the technology safety one, and then the new one we just passed for the salaries. So those are both in here, plus our total program mills and our bond. So all of those things are listed here, so it looks like our new current total bond will be 34.77 mils. And last year, it was 27.44. So that's the difference with
The override.
the override added in, and the property value changes and all the, so that's how it shook out after all the calculations were done.
Yeah, I just want to point out something that was discussed a lot in the information distribution around the mill levy was why, because I think originally the idea of 10 mils, it was about 10 mils, but that 10 mils was taken out of the ballot language. I don't know if it was ever in there, but because it was about when it was estimated, but one of the rationales for not having 10 mils versus it having a straight number was that then you're potentially setting yourself up for taking more money than we would need from the voters. And so you can see here in this mill levy override, if I'm reading it correctly, Chrissy, is that it's only 8.7 mils to get to the 600,000 number on the
Where are you at?
property, on the first page.
Yep, that's right.
So
And that's
that
because-
shows that we're actually not asking for 10 mils from the voters. We
Right.
asked for the 600,000, which is 8.7 mils, so that's
Well,
not
that
taking more than.
8.7 includes the 57.8 as well.
Oh, so then
really,
even
it's
maybe a
only-
little bit less
It's
than
only
that.
about 7 mils that
Okay,
resulted from.
so I think that's important for the public to hear and understand. I think that was something that kind of came up with, is it 10 mils, is it not 10 mils? And the rationale was we don't want to tax the voters more than we need, and we identified the 600,000 as what we need.
Right.
Any other questions for Chrissy?
So January 12th will be a good work session, just to get down to the nitty-gritty
I think we
of the
need,
budget.
we usually have dinner at work sessions.
No,
I think we need to have dinner at that work
I know,
session.
right.
Because I'm feeling it will
no kidding.
take a little bit longer.
It's gonna be yeah. So we'll
And
get,
Greta, you are welcome to come to that work session. I know you don't come, but it would be interesting if you're interested in school funding and budgets and all that stuff,
Yeah,
that you're welcome to come to that.
All right, on to you.
All right, board report. I'm just gonna, I've attached the board report and hit a couple of the highlights. This time around, I asked some of our school leaders and directors to add some things in there that, to share out on, and try to put in a few more pictures in there. Again, the reports I'm anchoring in the 3 goal areas. This isn't all and everything. It's really an overview of great things happening and work underway. I think a lot of you had a chance to make it to the Thanksgiving feast, which was a really great celebration of community and families, and seeing so many people show up. Thank you, Craig, was Craig and Craig, you were there, and
Yep.
that's right, who were able to do some service along there. Our marshals showed up, and a lot of community members, and one of our amazing student interns were there. And so that's great. A couple other things happening, lots of community-based events happening at the elementary school. The spaghetti dinner and the 4th and 5th grade performance around to honor and remember. I think a lot of you were able to capture that, but a great collaboration between our music and art department and the 4th and 5th grade. Lots of fun things happening just in terms of building community and culture this time of year amongst staff. If you just walk around and see some of the things happening, just trying to keep things during a busy month and where kids, definitely the dial on the energy is turning up as the month goes on. Staff supporting one another and also really working to keep routines in place through the rest of the month. Lots of highlights at the secondary school. Knowledge Bowl recently had a big night here. All of those winter sports underway. Also share some more about learning in a moment. One thing I want to bring up is just the work on our shared leadership work at the district level and across the school district around alignment and building a strong community of shared leadership. So we've started the practice of every other Friday afternoon that the staff leaders and educators meet, and that's by either by invite if we have specific staff members who are leading work or a specialist in, and open to all. So it's optional, so really bringing in folks that want to kind of help move the work forward in a collaborative format. So last Friday we had 2 really productive meetings around our proactive and restorative approaches to build that healthy community, and Audion led a group of teachers and specialists on looking closely at what is our Tier 1 curriculum program experiences to build skills and a culture amongst students around their social emotional learning and just building community, learning self-awareness, how to solve problems. We definitely have some really great things in place, but we also have some gaps when it comes to having that progressive scope and sequence. And so they've started that inventory. And then we have a cohort of deans and specialists who work with our students who need extra support or skill development. We call that Tier 2. And so they're continuing to share practices. Laura Mcneil and Josh Gardner are aligning their referral practices, our reporting practices, our data entry practices, so we can analyze data and identify well, guess what? Most of our incidents are happening during, Mary will give the informal data, but is that often when kids are lining up, that's a key spot. So we can fix that, we can work on that, so just, so that's what they are working on. And great things happening at the MELC. I did want to just point the board and the community towards the social media that Tara Hughes is using to educate and bring our community together around great things for young children, and also sharing kind of the way in which I think it was a very well-loved post where high school or middle schoolers coming down and working with our ELC. And I know that some of that is underway, but we also heard from Greta that kids wanted even more. That opportunity, that's a huge opportunity in our size of school district for kids to have that partnership and mentorship. Some highlights around engaging learning is we were able to we jumped on we were brought into a PEBC grant this fall with the Public Education Business Coalition, where they basically said, it's of no cost to you to join and we'll help you find teachers, and we have lots of PD that we can bring you into. They had more space in this grant. They had started it a year ago. And so then they reached out late October and said, in 3 weeks we have this 4-day institute in Denver around phenomenal teaching, and we were able to send 4 teachers. It was about the cost of $12,000, so we did pay for travel and whatnot, but they had a 4-day where they were in classrooms. This is a great framework, so we'll use this as one framework for us to look at as we build our instructional approach, and it looks like as we build a more aligned instructional approach, and it looks like we can send more in April as a part of that grant, more teachers to go and get into classrooms, collaborate with other educators from across the state. They came back jazzed, those teachers, and so they'll be putting together and sharing with the staff as well, and hopefully get more teachers in that around some really high engagement teaching practices. Kindergartners are doing great things. Secondary school, I think a few highlights there is around the science fair. Is it Saturday? Science fair? It's coming up.
It's
Audion
coming,
is working
I'm sure.
hard. There's a lot going on with middle school and high school. So that's underway. The Futures Fair, students are traveling to that, and more career exploration jobs. So lots of opportunities for students to really be thinking about their future. And we'll make sure that when we have a team come in and share a lot about how that's showing up in advisory and around the portrait of a graduate. It's that time of year where a lot of end-of-year unit and mid-year assessments are happening. So there's different kinds of end-of-year things happening. There's the end-of-year or end-of-semester unit assessments, projects, and things that where students are showing their proficiency towards standards. And that's happening like within the class. From classes, and I'm gonna have to get a drink of water here because I can tell them. This happened to me earlier today, already. But I know where it is because I just got it for Jacob. Sorry. But then the other thing that happens mid-year, mostly in the elementary school, oh, no, actually, sorry, take that back. Middle and elementary middle school is where they're taking those mid-year assessments of DIBELS and NWA. Hang on. Where that shows their overall growth from their beginning of the year. And then teachers can make instructional plans from that. I think that I'll stop there, and I might have to go get a cough drop. Well, you can look at the cohesive systems, because this happened to me earlier today, and I know it's not gonna stop until I go get a cough drop. Sorry about that.
So I have to scroll down to where that is.
As far as the cohesive systems,
Yeah,
I think it was talking about how the elementary school, the behavior team
Yeah.
and dean of students.
yeah, behavior team and dean students have been working hard to revamp. You guys have this written down, this written report. She has the elementary school, the secondary school, the middle of the oversight committee, which is a concern that's been brought to me by several of our community about how that's being put together. They're gonna convene on December 15th, and membership's gonna be notified tomorrow as who's members. You've had a bunch of people express
Yeah, we've had some
interest.
people express interest. Chrissy and I looked through it today. We need to gather a few more folks from internal within the schools to make sure those different groups are being represented. Like I think we need, like a paraprofessional, things like that. So yeah, and so then on next Monday, we'll convene to just kind of do an orientation on what is the purpose of the work and establish kind of some working norms. And then we really get rolling in January to look at different approaches and models to look at and determine how that money can be distributed across the salary schedules. So, you were saying there's some.
Well, there's people that wanna know how that's gonna be taking place, cause
Yeah.
if they're paying more in private tax, they wanna know where it's going, and I've had several people say, we wanna support teachers primarily. That you don't have to be equitable about everybody getting the same kind of percentage kind of thing.
Sure, and that will all be the,
And that's what the committee's gonna be
establish
determining
some
how that's gonna
criteria.
go. Right.
yeah, one of the first things we'll start to establish on the, when we come together is the idea of what's some of the criteria that we'll be looking at. And like to that point, a criteria could be, we may not necessarily have, across the board, that
Right.
could have varying, it could be applied in varying levels. That would be a criteria, that we don't have to subscribe it to be one or the other.
Right, and that's where the concern was, it was addressed to me, it was that they just wanna see how it's done, and that this was actually 3 different people, that their emphasis is on teachers.
Yep.
The ballot language was all staff.
Right, the ballot is for all staff.
Yeah.
And we need to make sure we honor that too. But like I said,
But it doesn't have to be.
that's what the committee, and that's what You know, that's why we
That's why
want
it's a
to
committee.
make sure that
Right.
the dates and the membership were
Yeah.
put together.
And part of the
Careers.
information that we'll be bringing to the committee is in terms of the different roles, kind of where those land in connection to regional comparisons, state comparisons. Because when you look at those, that's where you might see that some roles, whether they be staff or teachers, are out of proportionately less or proportionately more, or in comparison to others, and that might be where some of that work is done, to look at that.
So,
Any other questions on that? And you know, of course, we're following the ballot language, and Chrissy's been in touch with our consultants at CDE to start building out some of those models, so that we can do the best we can.
And just real quick, go over your process. You opened the survey, or the form for people to add, to inquire about being on the committee 3 weeks ago.
Yep, we sent
So
it out
it's-
before break and then
Yeah.
sent it out again. Yep, and we
Right.
have a diversity of folks already. We have some non-parent community members, we have some, different.
Yeah, so it's
Different
been out there, so if people have wanted to join, it's been out there, they could have joined. You guys are gonna pick, let people know, and then they'll be here on Monday.
Correct, and then throughout the process, we will share out the notes and have cycles of feedback and input and questions, as well. So that, you know, it's not, you know, what's happening will be shared out for ongoing,
okay, anything else?
So you got the income.
Oh, I did just wanna say, I'm sorry, I had to,
You're good.
I had said this, scratch in my throat all day, that, Destry Lockhart, I just wanted to note that we have a team working together, to be able to make good decisions about inclement weather, and that's, our communications are all queued up, things are ready to go should, we have, that happen.
And with that, with the students wanting to be in the gym, is there a plan for indoor spaces for our students available during the day once they get here?
Yep,
if
each
the
school
outside
has,
is not.
each school has plans for inclement
Okay.
weather. Yep.
Cool. That should cover that one.
And I think it was mentioned by Sarah Rank, but just a, official, announcement, to the board and to the public that Alice Miller, our current school secretary at the secondary school, is our new business manager. And so we're excited to bring her on board. Her official start, is Alice first, April 1st. And so, you can see there kind of that succession and training plan, not just for Alice, but for also the person going into the role of secondary administrative assistant, because that's a complex role as well. And then the other last really important thing in that I wanna make sure the board looks at and discusses today is the updated superintendent evaluation process and timeline. And so due to the election and my new superintendency, we delayed getting it underway.
Push that back a little bit.
Push it back, so you'll see an attachment where it's not a policy, it's a, what do you call it, it's just practice, it's a policy that I'm evaluated every year.
Right,
The-
policy
it is a
says that we have to
practice
evaluate the
Of
superintendent, but we're.
these dates, and so this is basically just kicking it back a month, timeline, but I wanna make sure that
I'll
was.
be sure to check that out on our policies, that we don't have to have a specific date, we just have to do it.
Another nice thing is with the incoming board, you at least have a month to kind of get to know her a little bit. I know when Craig and I first started, it was at that meeting that we went over everything, the meeting that we got sworn in. So it is nice to at least have a little bit of time to kind of understand what's happening before you have to evaluate our one employee.
And that way gives you guys some time to ask around, to ask us questions, ask community questions, ask the superintendent questions. And you guys feel free to make appointments with Audrey and talk about roles and responsibilities, and especially her role, because she is our one employee, and we need to have an understanding of what the directions are and where we might want to be going.
So Tim, will you just explain real quick just what what our steps are?
The evaluation process steps.
The evaluation process, oh man, I need to look at that.
Okay, well, basically,
We have a-
Audrey does a self-evaluation.
Yeah,
And then she submits that to us, and we all look at it, and then we submit our own evaluation, which was attached on there.
right, there's a
And then-
rubric there for you to
And
look
we
at.
send it to Tim and whoever else he delegates to, it's usually 2 board members
Yeah.
that,
We definitely have 2 people that
Yeah.
that take in the evaluations of the rest of the board. We summarize that and come back to the board, and then the board puts together its recommendation, its evaluation.
and then we will have a
As a group.
fun little special meeting where we go into executive session so we can discuss that because it is a personal matter. We'll discuss it with us, we'll discuss it with Audrey, and then we come back out and then we let the public know what the evaluation is. So just so you can see what the timeline means.
Yeah.
So the evaluation document in the attachments is all redlined. Do we need to do anything to update that, or is it not, it's
Well, the red
policy?
lines were
It's
mostly
not policy,
dates.
right?
Policy.
Yeah,
Okay.
those are
Just
mostly
showing those
dates,
dates changes.
Yeah.
Sorry about my coughing fit, were there any questions or things about the board report, or the report to the board that people wanted to ask about or follow up on? And then I had one addition.
Yeah, without details, the behavior team work, is that in response to problems, or is that in ongoing improvement process?
At the elementary school, they have a behavior team that just works together as far as ongoing improvement processes to make sure that our systems are strong, that our practices are consistent. You can see the common vocabularies, all of those things. One thing we know about student behavior is that when things are consistent and common, that students are more likely to be able to learn and develop the skills to do that. And so even in our elementary schools, kids will see 3 or 4 teachers within a day. And so if every time they go to a different environment or anything like that, that changes, that's that many times where it's hard for kids to adjust. So that it's ongoing work.
It was really apparent last year when we had the strategic plan where the high school was in its own little world, but elementary was in theirs, and there was not much. We basically had to have 2 separate reports from them because they were just in 2 separate systems. So that was one thing that the board had asked them last year was, can you please mesh this and I'll get it, basically everyone get on the same page. So that kind of started with that, and then Audrey's been awesome about, trying to get everything, even pre-K all the way through on the same language.
That's one of our focuses, to go district-wide with everything.
One of the cool things about that behavioral program too is that they are very proactive, so it's not just disciplinary issues, it's actually more of that intermediate or that beginning movement to deal with anything that had to do with any kind of issues that would come up, just kind of like before it becomes a big thing.
Proactive,
Yeah.
One note is that at each school, they have teams that respond to and discuss and support anytime. So a student concern comes up, even if a teacher's just noticing a student who looks withdrawn or something's off, that there's a child study team at the secondary level and the behavior and student support RTI team at the elementary level to make sure that that even those early indications of something's up, that the collaborative team comes together to look at that. That's separate of the behavior team, which is more looking at systems and practices. And that the cohort that I mentioned, that there's a team, a part of a statewide cohort through the CDE, so they are meeting, they've had 2 meetings now, about every 6 to 8 weeks online with schools from around the state and facilitators from the CDE to talk about best practices, to look at systems, to get on with and collaborate with other schools. So they met this last week, and then on Friday they took all that work that they were doing. An additional training that I didn't put in here was that since the last board meeting, the administrative team and some of the behavior specialists have completed our school safety threat assessment training as well as our suicide risk assessment training with the Office of School Safety coordinator out of Bayfield. And so all of that is getting curated into kind of our whole safety and student safety and discipline and behavior systems review to really identify what are our key gaps and build that kind of K-12, pre-K-12 practices. So a lot of good work underway. This came in as a known area for growth as a school. That was noted in a lot of the feedback that I received, and it was expressed by staff. So we have a huge team of really enthusiastic, caring, amazing individuals that are now like working together all the way across the district to get on the same page and support kids. So that's a real highlight right now.
One other thing that I had seen in your report, through one of the emails, what's the high school one we get? Blue Jay?
Blue Jay Express.
Mr. Hughes put something in there about a survey.
Yeah.
That we kind of talked about. Do you want to talk about who's doing surveys or?
Right, yeah, no, I didn't put it in the report, but I should have put it in the report. All school leaders and myself put out a short survey at the end of October, just as a process for gathering, like, hey, it's been a quarter. We're serving the majority of our educators, and to get that, especially with Dr. Maribel being new and James being in his second year, myself being new. So it was basically a dipstick to say what's going well, where can we work to improve, and I shared actually the results of mine to the district leadership team today. I'm pointing over here at Chrissy. Jan just missed that. Anyway, so sharing out those results and just show, you know, in the spirit of continuous improvement and feedback and growth, that's been that. And I think James has put some of the work that he's been doing from that in the Blue Jay Express, being just open and public about his professional growth.
So are those going to be every quarter, or is this just every year at the
That's something we're
beginning?
identifying. I think we're identifying the cadence of when we are surveying staff and getting feedback. One thing that we're looking to solidify this next week, and we'll share in January, is the school culture and climate survey that'll go to staff, students, and parents sometime this second semester. That is a comprehensive survey that gives a lot of information, as well as this year is a TLCC survey, which is the Teaching and Learning something, which is a survey from the state of Colorado to educators about their school district. And so that happens, so we'll get plenty of information this next spring. So identifying what's that cadence, and that'll be work that we do as a school district to really build in those benchmarks. You know, is it fall, winter, spring? Is it, you know, these short end of quarters? But we were a brand new team, so we just said, but we need to do this now. We need to get some input, not be, you know, it's like flying blind, especially when you're building new relationships with folks who might not have just different avenues for giving feedback to. That's one way to give it. Other people like to give it in other ways.
And is the plan to do this district-wide for like all the director positions will eventually have some type of?
Eventually, yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Eventually that all those, anybody that's serving in a supervisory position will do that. Yeah, cool.
All right, do we want to go into any discussion about the options for the best grant in safety and security at this point? Or do we want to maybe discuss that as part of our retreat at CASB?
I just put in there if there's any more questions. I think it's probably, as I said in the work session, and it's important to say publicly that the performance services presented kind of some updated information about the school and safety improvements that we might consider if we were to go for a best grant this year. So that's why we did that today, and I think it makes sense that we have a longer discussion when we look at the budget and also those, and had a little bit of time to kind of sink in and think about those
You have
more.
3.5 months to decide on that.
We have 3.5 months. Well, I would want to decide by the end of January if we have to, because writing a best grant and getting people involved in bringing that all in.
A little bit of time.
I'm happy to, I know that we had that technical difficulties in the presentation, so if there's more questions about that at this time.
Is it worth cross-referencing it with a threat analysis? Like if we've had a safety threat analysis, should we be looking at that at the same time we're looking at how we spend money against threat? if there's safety and security money being spent.
In terms, say more, you mean in
Well,
terms of our threat assessment
Yeah,
training?
what's our threat assessment say?
The threat assessment,
Project say?
that was more about threat assessments that training it was not about, our facilities. That training was about how do we respond when we're presented with a threat, like a student threat. So it's more of the human
Okay.
interaction
Not
of the
connected.
student
Okay.
reports. Yeah, if the student reports a concern or makes a threat, it's that process. So that was that training. So I think what we can do is have our safety team look at that and look at all of our, the input that we have around school safety in that way.
I think that would be
Right now, I
great.
think right now, I would say that our systems are inconvenient and at times not working as quickly as we want them to work in terms of our entry and exit. We still, every day work to have a secure perimeter from all of our doors, that our doors and we're following all of the school safety practices that are recommended to make sure that kids are safe at school. It's more of the technology is keeping up barely with that, so that's.
I will say, I've been in this role for a matter of days, and I've heard multiple complaints from staff and teachers about access control failures.
Right.
And the hassles.
Right, yep, and that's where we have to decide as where we are within a hassle zone and moving into a safety zone. And I think there's probably some gray area there where if we had to do some things that could be a concern area that maybe it wouldn't work as fast as we would want it to.
Is the ADA compliance too a part of that?
The ADA compliance is one of our other safety components, not so much security, but safety in terms of being able to move and have students access. So it's I think that's really what the board needs to look at is prioritization and timeline. Because I think everything that was presented, whether or not that corridor be the solution or not, everything presented at some point is going to need to be addressed. And it's what we're determining, where we determine how quickly we address that, and that is that, the money to also the need, so sometimes the need trumps that.
I would love to see the safety team's analysis of that.
Yep.
What do they think is important?
Yep, and I can have the safety, we meet before that meeting, actually, that's when we're discussing that, and also I just we're also exploring some of the other technology that we might utilize in place or along with radios that might be work better. We got a lot of feedback from that September 24th evacuation that the radios were sometimes impeding our best efforts to communicate. And so he's got some quotes and some information about that. So we actually will meet before that work session so I can bring that information.
Anything else on the superintendent's report that people are concerned or? The resolution for the mill levy certification. Do we need, that doesn't require a vote of the board.
It
Does
does,
it?
it does, and you have to sign the resolution as
I
well.
mean, I know I have to sign it, but
As far as I know, it does.
It's not a consent, right? It's a,
It should be a consent.
Do we have the,
We've always done it as a consent,
yeah,
anyway.
do we have the motion?
the resolution
read
is,
it.
the resolution is on page 29
Do you want
of the.
you want a paper copy?
does it need to be moved to the consent agenda or is it on the resolution?
No, I think we have to read it, right?
It's a second, yeah, it needs to be read as a resolution.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So,
it does.
I mean, I can read the resolution, but somebody else needs to make a motion since I'm board
Okay.
president.
I move to approve the resolution that Tim's gonna read.
Okay, let me get down to page 29.
Tim loves these. He's really good at it. Thank you, Tim, for doing that.
It's very.
I actually pre-read it, so once I get to it, once I find it, where the heck is it? Oh, there it is. In compliance with Colorado Revised Statute 2240-102, subparagraph 6, this is to certify that the Temecula School District Board of Education admitted the business session on December 8th, 2025, and took action recording the official minutes thereof to establish the total Memphis School District mill levy for property tax year 2025 to be collected in 2026 at 34.776. The millage total is based on a net assessed value of $75,555,701 and is comprised of the following. In the general fund, total program funds of $1,560,830 with a mill total of 20.658. The approved mill levy override of $657,803, a mill of 8.706. The abatement of $33,925, which is a .449 mill. So the total general fund is $2,252,557 for a total of 29.813 mills. The bond redemption fund sits at $374,998, which is a 4.963 mill. So the total non-general fund of $374,998 and the Memphis School District total is $2,627,555 for a total of 34.776 mills. I need a second.
I second.
We have a motion, we have a second. Is there any discussion on the mill levy and how that's applied? All right, Janet, call the question, please.
Tim Hunter.
Aye.
Rachel McWhorter.
Aye.
Craig Benelli.
Aye.
Craig McClure.
Aye.
Kira Taylor.
Aye.
So that was a unanimous decision to accept the property tax mill levy as read. Okay, moving on. We, get back to my agenda here. And, the consent agenda, which consists of, approving the meeting minutes from last month, approving the bills, and to act on any personnel recommendations. Is there a motion on the consent agenda?
I move that we approve the consent agenda minutes, bills, and the recommendations.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. Is there any discussion on the consent agenda? Janet, call the question, please.
Tim Hunter.
Aye.
Craig Benelli.
Aye.
Rachel McWhorter.
Aye.
Craig McClure.
Aye.
Kira Taylor.
Aye.
And that motion also passes unanimously. So we have some upcoming calendar things to talk about. CASB, our convention, Wednesday, meeting Wednesday through Saturday.
I just want to confirm that that is put on our website as a retreat that we will all be together. Because we need to make sure that we put every single one of those times that there's 3 or more of us together.
Yes, yeah.
So we need to make sure that that's on some calendar somewhere.
We don't want to be in violation of any Sunshine Acts.
Do you put it on there as the entire time, or do like from 8 to 8?
I think you just put it from Wednesday.
Yeah,
Just
Wednesday,
that whole
Just
time.
basically
Okay.
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday,
Okay.
Saturday, we will
Wednesday through
be,
Saturday,
Yeah.
that we're gonna be at a retreat,
Or
meeting together.
CASB retreat.
We'll be together at various times and we'll be independent at various times.
Okay, and so I'm putting that in the notes, Janet, we can get that.
So it's noticed.
I think, isn't there a blanket statement on the website?
There is a blanket statement about retreats and meetings, but
but it didn't
our
have
website?
like,
yeah, but we
Yeah,
have
but I
these,
think it was just like at certain times.
we have a thing out there that says at certain times the board will be meeting, but we need to make this specific.
As official.
Because this is an official, we're
Yep.
going to have an official retreat in there.
Yep.
And we will be together, some will be together driving up and, some, and then we'll be getting together as a group at various times throughout the convention.
Janet, let's add that tomorrow morning since we're meeting
Yeah,
to drive
because-
as,
yeah, on Wednesday.
on Wednesday morning, so
Right,
with that
we need to have
24 hours.
We need to have that published.
Yep.
Any questions about what's gonna go on up there? There's gonna be various, the new board members should probably look at the new board member track. There's some really good stuff there, but there's also some really other good breakout sessions that you might be interested in specifically. And we should talk some more, probably Thursday morning when we get together for the first general assembly, we usually try and all sit together. And at that point in time, if you've looked through the agenda, that we can compare notes so that we're not all going to the same breakout sessions. So that we can get a wide variety of inputs from this conference.
I had a question about the annual business meeting. Victor was saying that in the past, he was the voting member to be.
Yeah, Victor,
I don't think it makes sense to be me, because I'm so brand new, even if I'm wanting to have interest in the kind of legislative side of things. Is there somebody who wants to?
we did not declare any replacement for Victor with Casby
We
yet.
need to delegate, yeah.
I would be happy to do it next year when I have more experience.
Rachel, do you want to
This
take
year.
on as treasurer and you know where things are at fiscally?
Um,
Go to the business center, I'm just asking, I'm not,
I honestly have no want to be the delegate, so I would
Okay.
not like to do that.
I mean, I can, I just am not probably.
no, I mean, Craig, if you don't, I mean, I will go to that if nobody else wants to. I mean, none of us really want to, but we do need to have our vote in there.
Yeah.
We do need to have representation.
Say, Tim, you're probably the one that has the most
Okay,
idea of what's
um,
going on.
So we need to,
So there's an RSVP form.
Yeah, you need to register as our delegate.
yeah, we need to,
Delegate assembly.
I think I have it.
Do we need to make a?
I didn't see that in
Do
the,
we need to vote on that? Or can we just appoint you?
it's like,
Okay.
yeah, it's just appointments like BOCES and everything else.
I think it's on Audrey's spreadsheet, the
The
link.
delegate, oh, really?
Oh, is it not?
Oh, I have the link to the convention and yeah. You mean this, the link to the events?
No, maybe I.
I thought you had the
made that up.
delegate link.
Maybe I made that up.
I have the
thought-
reception link.
Not to the signing up, to, well, maybe you don't have it.
I think, is it in the agenda? No, I don't remember having the link. I
Oh,
feel like I
know,
saw
I might have it
somewhere.
because I reached out about
Can
LRAP,
you
so
send
I
that
can
to
try to
me?
forward, yeah, from Matt
Could
Cook.
you email that to me?
Yes, I will email it to you.
That'll save me having to,
It might be in our email.
Yeah, I think I have it.
okay, that'd be great. I will take care of the business meeting stuff. Thanks for bringing that up.
Yeah,
That's one that I just have kind of avoided
that's fair.
in the past. But it is an important thing. We need to have our vote in at the business meeting.
Oh, it's in the last CASB brief that went out on December 2nd
Yeah.
as well.
Okay, I can just send you the link though.
If you just send it to me, yeah. Okay, everybody's gonna get up there on Wednesday at some point in time, and like I say, Thursday registration. If you didn't get there in time Wednesday to register Thursday morning, there is a breakfast in one of the meeting rooms there, and then we'll get together for the first general assembly, and we'll try and get together and compare some notes at that point in time.
So we'll try to find everybody for breakfast. We usually, whoever kind of gets there first gets a whole table, and then we just kind of all find each other at the table, so.
Sounds good.
Same thing at lunch breaks.
So,
Like a giant game of Marco Polo.
Oh, it's huge.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
Like,
a giant game of Marco Polo.
yeah.
We'll text you all.
Do you typically go to the Colorado Rural Schools Alliance breakfast? Is that something
Yes,
that we
That's
go to?
something we should all,
That's Thursday morning.
So that should be the breakfast we go to.
So, okay, that's what
Yeah.
I was gonna ask, go to
the
the
rural
Rural
assembly
Schools
breakfast
Alliance.
is, that's a big deal. That's where, the majority of school districts in the state are rural districts. But yet, CDE caters to Jeffco and Denver and Fort Collins and Boulder. So through the Rural Alliance, we're actually making strides in having rural voices heard at the hierarchy. And so it's important for us to attend that and see what's going on overall with the rural school districts.
yeah, I'm getting their emails nearly daily at this point. Do we have representation there, or is someone watching that, or we just, how's this work?
No, we haven't had an official rep
For Rural Schools
for rural
Alliance?
school.
Well, we do through BOCES, that Rick Holt is the superintendent at Pogosa. And so
Okay.
he is our BOCES representative for the superintendents for Rural Schools Alliance.
Okay.
And so, yeah, he checks in with us and does that. I tend to jump on their weekly calls. And Susana Cordova is actually at every almost every week, she opens the meeting up with any announcements, and CDE folks are, I don't know if it's going better than it used to, but there's typically multiple people from CDE on the calls almost every week now, so.
That's way better.
I'm hopeful that's better, because it's felt pretty well supported at this point but I don't know.
And I was on that board years ago, and it was an ad hoc kind of thing, and it's getting much, much better.
Yeah,
So
so
our-
worth coming to learn more
Our
about it.
monitoring of it, we're covered, we know what's happening,
Yeah,
okay.
and I'm on there pretty much almost every other week, just listening in a lot, but at some point I'll ask a question, but there's plenty of people asking better questions than me.
Good.
No, it's kind of.
Okay, anything else about CASB?
We have our Minkus presentation on the 12th.
Yes.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
Yep, and we're working on the vehicle, like who's driving and what. So are you driving yourself up?
I'm driving myself.
And you're driving yourself up?
I'm driving myself up, but I
Weird.
might
Oh.
get somebody else, because I'm leaving later.
Yeah, I have the notes in here, so let me just confirm. So,
Okay.
group 1 is the morning group around 9 a.m. Right now it's me, Kira, Craig, Child, Katie. We have room for a couple more. Do you want to, and then there's the 2 p.m. group with Rachel, and I can drive the 9
Tim,
a.m.
where are you going? You're late?
I'm leaving Wednesday, probably between 8 and 9.
Okay.
I mean, I have plenty of room in the truck to get up there. I just have to have the truck because Kelly's going along, and she
Do you want to go at 9 or
for
at
her
2?
do
Yeah.
her thing.
And that's also
I can't leave
2,
until about 2.
right?
Mhm.
Okay.
That's why I gotta drive.
Well, no, it's just gonna be one, but.
And is anyone going with you right now?
Right
2
now.
on the way back,
Okay.
okay.
Yeah.
But and then coming home.
Okay, for sure.
If no one is going with you, I will wait and ride with you so you don't do the drive alone.
Oh,
And then I can go to my physical therapy appointment, which I wanna skip, but I'll go anyway.
Okay, we'll talk
So,
about that.
we'll figure it out.
So I'm just putting
like I
Craig
said, I got
as
a full
an
extra
A.
cab, so
Alright.
I just have to take the dog seat out of that.
Cool.
Craig, if
I
I
will
ride
give
with
you
her,
what-
there's room for you and Cora in the first group, I think, right?
Cora's gonna ride back
Okay.
from Casby, but I'm
I
gonna
think
be
they'll be
right
really
there.
fun.
And coming back, we can move around.
Yeah, and I won't be in the car. I will say, I just want to mention that on Thursday evening, we have kind of our extended dinner retreat. It starts at 5:45, so if you want to go to the CASB reception, go to that right away at 4:30. There is an RSVP, which I did put in here. I think they just want to know that you're there. And the dinner is at La Tavern.
The tavern, that's in the
Yeah.
main, that's in the main
It's
building.
in the main area, so,
Downstairs.
so we'll meet there at 5:45. At 6 o'clock, Monica Johnson is gonna join us just for about a half an hour. She's the facilitator, and coach from CASB, so I want her to meet everybody. She'll probably come and do a board retreat with us later, in February or something like that, but, just giving that first introduction, and then Tim and I, spitballed some ideas about bringing a few things around, kind of the initial coming and forming around the board, around, some of the, governance model, the role of superintendent, kind of that early discussion and some getting to know each other as well.
Cool. A couple things I want to add to that is that's normally when we talk about linkage, so I think that's what we
Add that to
should
the-
do that
okay.
one. And then let's talk about policy as well. I know Audrey, you and I talked about kind of a plan to tackle policy. So we can talk about that
We
as
put
well.
together a pretty stringent schedule about
Yeah.
doing policy, because it just
We need to.
it just comes at us all the time.
So those are the things that I wanted to add to.
Is this dumb question? Is this just like business casual? What's the vibe of this
Yes.
thing?
Business casual, not suits, but yeah.
You wanna
like,
be
what we
business
all-
casual or rural?
I go rural Colorado business casual,
There you
like
go.
there's
You'll
extra
see,
no stains.
you will see all kinds of things
Yes,
at
no
this,
shorts.
yeah.
Covered.
I didn't, we saw that when we were there, so, just saying.
I haven't seen any pajamas yet, but
If you wanted to,
Yeah.
I have seen slippers.
Tuxedo pajamas,
there you go, done.
matching.
I mean, I assume Thursday night dinner's black tie, right? That's the point.
Actually, the tavern's not too bad,
No, the taverns, no, it's casual. Anything up for future agenda items? We might want to solidify that more at our retreat on
Yeah,
Thursday.
I just wanna say that I'll be, with the renewal of the strategic plan, looking at the board planning calendar from January to the end of the year in terms of board reports and kind of cleaning that up, so probably bring that, at the work session in January, just for a quick overview to make sure that we're bringing, forth our educators to share work in progress around the strategic plan, as early as the January board meeting, so just don't wanna lose sight of that.
And then we talked about the curriculum stuff. Are we gonna bring that, do we know kind of when we're gonna relook at that calendar?
Yeah, that can roll in there as
Okay.
a question, that can be, yeah, one of those,
Perfect.
so. I don't have a specific time, but I know that we have to look at it, because that's something we're looking at anyway.
Yeah.
Okay. Board follow-up and debrief. I don't have the debrief questions in front of me.
Everyone good?
I think you can click on them.
Well, yeah, I'm not in board books right at the moment.
Oh.
Do you want me to read them for you, Tim?
No, why don't you figure a
Just
couple
pick
questions to
one.
ask people? You can take over the debrief.
I'll do
This
it.
is gonna be so fast.
I'll do it. We'll
Okay.
kind of put them together. Did you learn anything new, or were you surprised, unprepared for anything at this meeting? For anybody? Did you learn anything new?
Something that I heard that I thought was interesting is, what's a Sunshine Act?
We need to add that to a new, to a meeting.
The Sunshine Act is an open meetings law. It's law in the state of Colorado. You have to announce meetings. As a board, we cannot get together, more than two of us cannot meet together at any particular time, or that's considered a board meeting. We cannot make decisions in executive sessions. It's all about being transparent to the public about our meetings.
And so because we're elected, we have to follow a certain law that dictates what it is that we can do and what constitutes a meeting, so that it's not like behind closed doors. Everything that we do has to be visible to the public.
Let's be out in the sun.
So with having a new board, including the students, we should have some type of a training,
Yes.
probably January, February.
Yeah, because it's specific,
Yeah.
and there are liability issues with that.
I mean, imagine the CASB new board member training is gonna cover.
A little bit, but we need to do one as a
Yeah,
refresher of
makes
the
sense.
board.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Because it's explicit and specific.
Yeah.
And there is a lawyer out and about that has been making his living, taking advantage of town boards and school boards not applying the Sunshine Act and making a living out of suing them.
Yep.
So we need to be aware of that, and we need to follow the rules and regs exactly.
Did the board cross into operations during the meeting, and were there any decisions made by the board that need to be communicated to the public?
I saw no operations infringements.
I think it'd be important that we take some pictures and communicate to the public, our new board members.
Yeah, I need to do that.
You need a picture at the end? Okay.
You know, right at the end of the day.
At the end, yeah. Cool.
All looking our best.
All right, last one, any follow-up needed by a board member, including any written thank you notes? Or is there anything that requires new policy or revision of policy?
But we are going to get
Yeah, we'll
the
distribute those.
thank yous out to our past board members. I think that's all. I don't think there's anything else we need to send any notes off to.
Nope, I'll stay in communication with performance services.
But make sure to pass on the Thanksgiving, the dinner was very highly appreciated with the staff.
That's good.
A lot of people said good things about that.
Okay.
I'm sorry I missed that one. All right, then, if there is nothing else,